As you're standing on that balcony with your red drink, just above your head in 50-foot-high neon lettering is the word tit.
Come on, let's call it a day.
Only Fools and Horses is commonly voted as Britain's best-loved sitcom and has been a firm family favourite across the UK since it first aired in September 1981. It was written by John Sullivan and lasted for 7 successful seasons and memorable Christmas specials. David Jason and Nicholas Lyndhurst star as the Trotter brothers, Del and Rodney, who wheel and deal their way from council flat to millionaires and then back again. Del Boy, played by David Jason, has been in charge of looking after his dippy younger brother Rodney, Nicholas Lyndhurst, since the age of 16 when their mother passed away and their father left them. The pair are market traders in Peckham, South London, selling defective goods from a suitcase, always coming close to a good business deal. The pair live with their granddad, played by Leonard Pearce, up until his death in Season 3, and then later Uncle Albert, played by Buster Merrifield, an old seafarer who is well known for sinking his ships. UK sitcom favourite Roger Lloyd-Pack also stars as the dim-witted road sweeper Trigger, and John Challis appears as the snobbish second-hand car dealer Boise. Here are 28 Only Fools and Horses facts that you haven't heard before, including who John Sullivan nearly cast as Del Boy before David Jason, why Nicholas Lyndhurst's character Rodney nearly had his own spin-off, and the rare Only Fools and Horses episodes that you may not have seen before. The memorable Only Fools and Horses episode entitled Time on Our Hands, which finally sees Del Boy and Rodney Trotter achieve their dreams and become millionaires, was originally broadcast at Christmas in 1996 on Boxing Day. Time on Our Hands was billed as the last ever episode of Only Fools and Horses, despite being followed by several other special episodes afterwards. It attracted a staggering 24.3 million viewers. That was live on TV back in 1996. The record for the highest UK audience of a sitcom episode is one of the many accolades won by the cast and crew of Only Fools and Horses throughout its run, including BAFTA Awards, National Television Awards, and awards from the Royal Television Society. For a special Only Fools and Horses episode written and filmed for BBC's Sport Relief, an annual charity broadcast on BBC One, David Beckham starred alongside David Jason and Nicholas Lyndhurst on March 21st, 2014. The episode was written by Jim Sullivan and Dan Sullivan, sons of the original Only Fools and Horses writer John Sullivan, and it featured unused material that he had previously written for the show. David Beckham is shown to be helping the Trotters sell Golden Balls underpants, which are said to be endorsed and signed by Beckham himself. Rodney is obviously used as a reluctant underwear model and is taught some signature poses by Beckham.
Little boy.
Yeah?
I'll burn your bacon.
Oh, you stupid old git. I told you to look after it, didn't I? Never mind, you can have it. Come on in, Rodney. Let's go and see if we can flog some of these watches. We'll stop off at Sid's place on the way, all right?
Yeah, right. Actually, I could do with something to eat now. Feel a bit better after that.
What have you done with my Steradent?
There are a total of 64 Only Fools and Horses episodes. All 7 seasons of Only Fools and Horses were broadcast on BBC One from September 1991 to the 25th of December 2003, and they were all written by John Sullivan, as well as the show's original run and subsequent spin-offs The Green Green Grass, which followed Boise and Marlene, and Rock and Chips, a prequel about Del Boy's youth. There were several small and charity sketches written starring Del Boy and Rodney. The rare Only Fools and Horses episodes and sketches include: in 1992, a sketch named Christmas Trees appeared on The Funny Side of Christmas, hosted by Frank Muir, attracting an audience of 7.2 million. In 1984, David Jason starred in an advert for the bank Abbey National, where he sold Abbey National Insurance. Del Boy was investigated by a consumer expert in a spoof documentary shown on Breakfast Time in December 1985 in a sketch called White Mice. Licensed to Drill was an educational episode starring Del Boy, Rodney and Grandad discussing oil drilling and was only shown in schools. This is widely believed to be Leonard Pearce's last appearance as Grandad. In 1990, Del, Rodney and Albert recorded a 5-minute special message for British troops serving in the 1990 to 1991 Persian Gulf War. A tape of this exists in the Imperial War Museum in London. In 1997, Del, Rodney and Albert featured in a comic relief special on the BBC asking for donations. And lastly, the David Beckham episode, which was released for the BBC Sport Relief campaign and was broadcast in 2014.
Follow that ambulance! Lonka!
Only Fools and Horses writer John Sullivan modelled Del Boy's character on unlicensed traders who sold goods from suitcases in markets. When David Jason was chosen for the role, he aided Sullivan's character design by drawing from the people he met whilst working previously as an electrician, and added the iconic camel hair coat and cheap oversized gold jewellery.
My name's Rodney.
Cassandra.
Ah, Cassandra. It's a lovely name.
Thank you. I just wanted
I'm glad
to say...
we bumped into each other because I was trying to find a way of saying hello to you, and I think it's really, sort of liberated of you to make the first move.
Move? No, you don't understand. You've taken my coat.
I'm so sorry.
It's okay. They're very similar. It's an easy mistake to make. Yeah. This one's yours.
Well, how'd you know it's mine?
It's got your name written in it.
David Jason was cast quite late on in the pre-production of Only Fools and Horses. Originally, Jim Broadbent was in the running for Del Boy, but he later goes on to play the most hated man in Peckham and old school friend from the Dockside Secondary Modern, DCI Roy Slater. Jim Broadbent turned down the part due to already being involved in a West End play at the time. N. Riddell was also a favourite to play Del Boy, but he was unable to take up the role due to prior commitments and a busy schedule. Riddell went on to star in the comedy series The Optimist, which ran for 2 series in 1983.
God, it's our old headmaster. It's Bend Over Benson.
If it is, he's grown another ear from somewhere.
Surprise, surprise!
Slater!
Rodney Trotter's daydreaming and idealistic character was actually based on John Sullivan's much older sibling, who was said to have many of the same traits. Nicholas Lyndhurst was cast as Rodney early on in the pre-production of Only Fools and Horses. Much like his own family, John Sullivan wanted the 2 brothers to have a large age gap in the final script. During the casting for the role of Grandad, Only Fools and Horses writer John Sullivan wanted to find an actor that resembled Wilfred Bramble's performance as Alfred Steptoe in the popular 1960s sitcom from Ray Galton and Alan Simpson, Steptoe and Son. Instead of choosing Bramble, who was heavily recognised from Steptoe and Son, Sullivan wanted to find someone capable of portraying his daft, scruffy yet witty character for Grandad. After seeing Leonard Pierce's audition, Sullivan chose him immediately.
One more turn, Del.
Right. Now brace yourself, Rodney. Brace yourself.
In December 1984, and at the age of 69, actor Leonard Pierce, who had played Only Fools and Horses' beloved Grandad, passed away. He starred in 3 seasons, and because John Sullivan wanted to keep the main characters as a trio, he introduced Grandad's brother Albert after his passing. Sullivan wrote the character of Grandad passing away in Only Fools and Horses 2, and we see the characters attend his funeral. It is here where we meet the old sailor and the new 3rd protagonist, Uncle Albert, played by Buster Merrifield. Buster Merrifield only took up acting after retirement and was previously a boxer and a bank manager at NatWest. Just a quick interruption to say thank you so much for clicking on a January Media video. If you haven't heard of us before, then take a few seconds to open a new tab, type in januarymedia.co.uk, and we've got a whole host of other videos, articles and podcasts all about TV and film. So if you want to find out more facts, have a go at some of our quizzes, and browse our entertainment-themed shop, then make sure you visit januarymedia.co.uk after you watch this video. Up until the Christmas special named dates, Only Fools and Horses had been significantly lacking in female characters. Sullivan wrote an episode in which Del signs up to a dating agency under the pseudonym Derek Duval, and is set up on a date with actress Raquel Turner, played by Tessa Peake Jones. Originally, the part of Raquel was only meant to be played in this one episode, but Sullivan wrote her in again a year later in the episode The Jolly Boys Outing. She later became a main cast member, moving in with Del and having a son which they named Damien.
Derek!
I'm putting it in.
Come down here, quickly!
What's happening?
Come and see this. Hurry!
What is it?
Look.
Huh? What?
Ray Butt, the producer of Only Fools and Horses, discovered Roger Lloyd Pack while sitting in the audience for a play to observe actor Bill Murray as a potential choice for Del Boy. Instead, he saw Roger Lloyd Pack perform and hired him to play Trigger, Del's simple-minded school friend.
If it's a girl, they're calling her Sigourney, after an actress. And if it's a boy, they're naming him Rodney, after Dave.
We first meet Del's school friend Denzel, played by Paul Barber, and his wife Corinne, played by Eva Motley, in the Only Fools and Horses episode Who's a Pretty Boy Then?, in which Del and Rodney and Grandad decorate their living room. Motley played a distrusting Corinne who knew Del was always up to something, and Sullivan wanted to include her in more episodes throughout the series, probably as a voice of reason. But sadly, Eva Motley died in 1985 at the age of 31 after suffering with alcohol and substance abuse. Interestingly, Eva Motley had a 2-year-long relationship with the iconic musician David Bowie, and her cousin Mia Motley was elected Prime Minister of Barbados in 2018.
Denzel, I got your money.
Great. See you down the pub later.
During its run, Only Fools and Horses included a few actors in minor roles that went on to become stars in their own right. You may remember Joan Sims from the Carry On films pop up as Trigger's Aunt Renee Turpin, and David Thewlis played alongside Rodney in his band A Bunch of Wallies in the episode It's Only Rock and Roll. EastEnders star John Barden, who played Jim Branning, played the security guard in The Longest Night, and Walter Sparrow went on to appear in many Hollywood films including The Secret Garden and Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves, after his role as Dirty Barry in the episode Danger UXD.
All right, you're not quite up to the standard of Spanner Ballet or Durham Durham. There's something about your music that I like. It's got something. I only hope it ain't catching.
When his first successful sitcom at the BBC, Citizen Smith, which starred Robert Lindsay, came to an end in 1980, Sullivan wanted to pitch another. Firstly, he devised an idea about a comedy set in the world of football, but it was rejected by the BBC. It was his second idea, all about a Cockney Market trailer in the 1980s in London, that won though, thankfully giving us the legendary Only Fools and Horses.
Here, Roddy, put some of that all on my back, will you?
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. Sorry, I thought it was oil.
John Sullivan, the Only Fools and Horses writer, had originally given the show the title Readies, meaning cash in hand, ready to spend. However, he decided on Only Fools and Horses instead, a little-known phrase referencing Only Fools and Horses work for a living, and it fitted with the Trotter's tax-evading lifestyle. He had also used the phrase as an episode title in his previous sitcom Citizen Smith. Whilst filming season 5 of Only Fools and Horses, David Jason discussed leaving the show to pursue other career opportunities. This caused John Sullivan to write the episode Who Wants to Be a Millionaire?, a whole episode based around Del moving to Australia with an old school friend to start a new car business. Due to this proposed departure, Sullivan began writing a spin-off series all about Rodney making it on his own with the help from Mickey Pearce, and it was going to be titled Hot Rod. Can you imagine if that actually got a green light? We're imagining Nicholas Lyndhurst in his Date with Nervous Nerys get-up for a whole series.
What did you have, Del Boy?
Just a packet of biscuits and a cup of tea, sir.
What did you really have?
Sausage, bacon, double egg, beans and tomatoes. Mushrooms, black pudding, and chips. 3 teas, 2 bread. Bread was toasted.
No fried slice?
No, not this morning, Sid. Belly's a bit dicky.
What did you have, Rodney?
Just my usual bacteria on toast, you know.
One day I'll smack him in the mouth.
Yeah, if you can find it.
John Sullivan requested a longer time slot for Only Fools and Horses Series 6, and it was extended to 50 minutes. This meant that the budget had to be increased by 40%, and it coincided with it finally becoming the BBC's most popular programme ever. According to an excerpt of the book Only Fools and Horses story by Steve Clark, the costume designer Robin Stubbs used to purchase Dell's jewellery each season because it was so cheap. We imagine because it kept breaking or fading. This included buying Dell's iconic D signet ring for a whole 50 pence each time.
I'm on the lookout for some stolen summer wear. Short sleeve shirts and blouses, men's and women's slacks, swimming trunks, bikinis.
You after promotion, Eric?
No. Me and the wife are off to Corfu next month. You've got to look at it, ain't you?
Well, if I hear of anything, I'll let you know.
While many people mishear the Only Fools and Horses opening credits as being sung by Nicholas Lyndhurst, they were in fact sung instead by the show's writer John Sullivan. When deciding on the theme music, Sullivan had written it to explain the show's title and envisaged Cockney duo Chaz and Dave singing it, but was later persuaded to give it a go himself by the producer Ray Butt. Chaz and Dave did make a memorable contribution to the music of Only Fools and Horses, however, in a later episode, when they wrote the song for the closing credits of the Jolly Boys outing to Margate in East Kent, called Down to Margate. It includes the great line, "Behave yourself, Grandad, or you won't be going." The first season of Only Fools and Horses does not have either the iconic opener, Stick a Pony in My Pocket, or the closing credits, Hooky Street. Instead, it was a saxophone theme produced by Ronnie Hazelhurst, which was recorded in 1981 at Lime Grove Studios. According to the book A to Z of Only Fools and Horses by John Sullivan and Richard Webber, the graphics designed for the opening titles were only updated 3 times throughout the show's run. The well-known peeling labels were designed by the graphic designer Peter Clayton and animated by Brian Stevens, who both aimed to mimic the Trotter's lifestyle of money quickly going in one hand and then out the other. The second iteration of the Only Fools and Horses opening titles came for the Season 1 Christmas special, Christmas Crackers, where they were updated to add a few festive items to them. Later, the third time they were changed was when Buster Merrifield's Uncle Albert was introduced to the cast, and replaced the image of Leonard Pierce's granddad in the sequence.
You know the rules of the game. All cards must be shown before the winnings are collected.
Leave it out, will you, Del? You've only got 2 pair.
No, Trig, no, it's all right. Let Del have his little moment. Come on, Del. Let's see your 2 pair.
Well, I've got a pair of aces.
Yeah.
And I got another pair of aces.
In January 2010, Nicholas Lyndhurst, who played Rodney Trotter, starred in John Sullivan's prequel to Only Fools and Horses, named Rock and Chips, as his biological father and criminal, Freddie Robdell. Viewers saw how Joan Mavis Trotter and Freddie Robdell's affair began and Rodney's subsequent birth, as well as Del Boy's school days being played out by the In-Betweeners star James Buckley. It was originally going to be called Sex, Drugs and Rock and Chips, but later was changed by the BBC.
Get up as high as you can, Del, eh? Where you going, Del?
Yeah, I'm going. Oh my God, oh bloody hell. Oh bloody
Jim Sullivan, John Sullivan's son, completed a script for an Only Fools and Horses musical alongside Paul Whitehouse, which would go on to run at the Theatre Royal Haymarket in London's West End in February 2019. In the first iteration of the cast, Tom Bennett plays Del Boy, Ryan Hutton makes his professional debut as Rodney, and Paul Whitehouse is Grandad.
I call upon these persons here present
to witness that I, Rodney Charlton Trotter, Rodney Charlton Trotter, I would appreciate it if the guests would conduct themselves in a manner more becoming to the occasion.
Ricky Hatton, a British professional boxer, bought one of the yellow Reliant Regals used on the set of Only Fools and Horses. Another one of the iconic yellow vans used for Trotter's independent traders sold at auction for £44,000 in February 2007. A third is currently displayed in the National Motor Museum in Bewley, in their exhibition Cars of the Stars, alongside Doc Brown's DeLorean from Back to the Future. It has been noted that over 12 Reliant Regals were used during the run of Only Fools and Horses.
Look, I agree that Del gets a bit out of hand, but I think it's unfair to say that everything he touches goes wrong. Our coach is just blown up.
Don't worry, Harry, I won't tell your governor about it.
The Coca-Cola branded water Dasani, which was launched in 1999, was discovered by the independent newspaper to be purified tap water from Sig Cup. This sparked a huge comical backlash comparing Dasani to Peckham spring water from Only Fools and Horses, a product created by Dell in the episode Mother Nature's Son, which he sold tap water from his flat in branded bottles.
Trig, why'd you call me Dave? My name's not Dave. My name's Rodney.
I thought it was Dave.
No, it's Rodney.
You sure?
Yeah, I'm positive. I've looked it up on my birth certificate and my passport and everything. It is definitely Rodney.
Oh, well, you live and learn.
As part of Danny Boyle's closing ceremony for the 2012 Olympic Games, a yellow Reliant Regal van and two characters dressed as Batman and Robin appeared on stage in reference to the memorable Only Fools and Horses episode Heroes and Villains. The iconic episode was released on Christmas Day in 1996 and was the 13th Only Fools and Horses Christmas special, and it saw Dell and Rodney dress up as the superheroes and run through Peckham after their van broke down. The show's inclusion in the International Olympic Games just proves how much of a cultural icon it has become over the years in British culture.
You mean it ended up at £300,000?
It's still going on.
Well, come on, let's get back up here.
3 1/4. The bid is in the room. 3 1/2.
350,000 quid.
3 3/4. 4, thank you. The bid stands at £4 million.
The script for Only Fools and Horses has been sold to many countries, including Israel, Malta, Pakistan, New Zealand and Greece. In Serbia, the show is translated as Shady Deals. In the Netherlands, it is named What Is It Worth, and has the Trotters renamed as Arsmans, Dell being renamed Steph, and Rodney as Robbie. The USA have attempted to remake the show on several occasions, one with Grandad as the lead character, and another called This Time Next Year, with the family being renamed the Flanagans. In 2010, Steve Carell, who is well known for starring in the US version of The Office, expressed an interest in starring as Del Boy. ABC commissioned a pilot in 2012 for an Only Fools and Horses remake entitled King of Van Nuys, which was written by the same duo who created Scrubs. It also starred Christopher Lloyd, yes, Doc Brown from Back to the Future, as Grandad.
Oh, did the repertoire that you insisted on? Yeah, but I didn't know that you couldn't pronounce your R's, did I? What does that matter?
Matters quite a lot when you're singing songs with R's in.
The Only Fools and Horses budget wouldn't stretch to the insurance needed to film in Peckham itself, so they filmed the outside scenes of Nelson Mandela House at Whitemead House, Duckmore Road in Bristol in 1988. They previously used Harlech Tower, Park Road East, Acton, London.
Hello? Oh, hello, Mr. Chin. No, Dell's gone out. I'm not sure. Where you gone to, Del?
There are a few characters we only know by nicknames in Only Fools and Horses, and the first of those we meet in Big Brother is Trigger. Despite Rodney worrying it was given to him because he carried a gun, Del corrects his fear and says it was given to him because he looks like a horse. Trigger's real name is in fact Colin Ball. Trigger is also the only character alongside Del and Rodney to appear in both the first and last episode of the show. We later find out that Boise, the second-hand car dealer and husband of Marlene, is really named Herman Terence Aubrey Boyce, and Grandad is Edward Kitchener Trotter.
Why'd they call him Trigger? Does he carry a gun?
No, it's because he looks like a horse. Peckham's very nice this time of year.
Is it?
I know, a lovely little flat you can stay at and all.
Well, maybe I'll try Peckham then.